Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Stalwart Initiative. We're back with our newest Unearthed Arcana, Unearthed Arcana 2020 Feats. And this Unearthed Arcana came out today. It offers 16 new feats for us to playtest. Let's take a look at all the feats, and then I'll give you my thoughts on my thoughts on it all. So first up, we have Artificer Initiate. You've learned some of an artificer's inventiveness, granting you the following benefits. First one is you learn one cantrip of your choice from the Artificer spell list, and you learn one first level spell of your choice from that list. Intelligence is your spellcasting ability for these spells. Whenever you gain a level, you can replace one of these spells with another spell of the same level from the Artificer spell list. You can cast this feat's first level spell without a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast it again this way again. You can also cast a spell using any spell slot you have. And the last part is you gain proficiency with one type of artisan's tools of your choice, and you can use that type of tool as a spellcasting focus for any spell you cast that uses intelligence as its spellcasting ability. This is lukewarm to me. The Artificer, it's a cool idea, trying to let people have a little touch of the Artificer without having to multi-class, and that's a kind of a theme with several of these feats, and that's a little controversial in the community, but I'm okay with that, and because they're typically dips into that class, but it's not taking away from the class's effectiveness because it's very low level stuff. The problem here is that the only other class that uses intelligence as its ability score of choice as a caster is wizard, and a wizard's not going to want this unless they really want that tool proficiency. I can't see myself ever using it like this in this incarnation. I really hope that this is improved upon. It is cool that in a lot of these that give you these spells that it does say that you can use you can replace them on a long rest, and you can use them with any spell slot you have. So you can use that with other spellcasting spell slots. It doesn't have to be with an Artificer spell slot, or and you can use it beyond its free uses that they give you. Artificer Initiate, that's a meh for me. But let's follow that up with one that I really like. I really like the Chef. And yeah, I just think this is some well-needed RP stuff. I love it, and I would actually use this. I would sacrifice a feat slot for this. So let's check it out. So the Chef. Time and effort spent mastering the culinary arts has paid off. You gain the following benefits. First, you increase your Constitution or Wisdom score by 1 to a maximum of 20. It's nice that ability score increase, so you're only really giving up 1 point elsewhere for the rest of everything. Second feature is you gain proficiency with cook's utensils if you don't already have it. That is great, because that means you can make anybody a chef, but I would also put a little caveat there that if you already have proficiency, let them pick another set of artisan's tools or something. Give a little compensation if they already have them. That way it's not a wasted feature. Next up is, as part of a short rest, you can cook special food, provided you have ingredients and cook's utensils on hand. You can prepare enough of this food for a number of creatures equal to 4 plus your proficiency bonus. At the end of the short rest, any creature who eats the food and spends 1 or more hit dice to regain hit points regains an extra 1d8 hit points. That can add up, especially when you're doing 4 plus your proficiency bonus. So at level 4, from 1 to 5, you have +2. You start out with +2. So that's 6 people, essentially your party usually. And every single person can get an extra d8 hit points on that. That's great. That's not hugely powerful, but beneficial. Always useful. So very cool. Very cool. The last feature is with 1 hour of work, or when you finish a long rest, you can cook a number of treats equal to your proficiency bonus. These special treats last 8 hours after being made. A creature can use a bonus action to eat one of these treats to gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. This is also a nice little feature. Not quite as powerful as the healing part of the cooking, but this is something that you can give characters. You can make these treats, and it's based on your proficiency bonus, so it starts out at 2 and scales up as you scale. Give these treats out, and if they have nothing to do with their bonus action, even during combat, just pop a treat. They get a few temporary hit points. It's nothing major, but it might be enough to save your butt in combat. So very cool. Very cool. Like the chef. Dig the chef. Next up, we have Crusher. Crusher is the first in the series of these feats based on bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. And Crusher is the bludgeoning version of that. And let's take a look. So you are practiced in the art of crushing your enemies, granting you the following benefits. Increase your strength or dex by 1, max of 20. That's good. We already have an increase, so it's already not giving up too much. Next up, you have once per turn when you hit a creature with an attack that deals bludgeoning damage, you can move it 5 feet to an unoccupied space, provided the target is no more than 1 size larger than you. And the last feature is when you score a critical hit that deals bludgeoning damage to a creature, attack rolls against that creature are made with advantage until the end of your next turn. I like this. This is useful. It doesn't feel like it's stepping on anybody's toes, and it's giving you small effects that resemble already existing mechanics. So you can help with this with moving creatures around the battlefield as you're smacking them around with your 5 feet of moving when you hit them. Also, when you critical strike, you help others get advantage until the end of your next turn, which is nice. And so you're essentially like knocking them prone without knocking them prone. Both of those features in one feat and giving you a stat boost. I like it. And I especially like it that it doesn't say weapon damage. It's not limited to bludgeoning weapons. So you can use this, like a druid can use this while they're in wild shape. You can use this with spells. This is I like it. I dig it. Next up we have Eldritch Adept. And after looking online when I was downloading this PDF, this is pretty split on the Eldritch Adept, and I can see why. Let's take a look. Prerequisite: you have to have spell casting or pack magic already to gain this feat. It says studying occult lore, you've unlocked Eldritch power within yourself. You learn one Eldritch invocation option of your choice from the Warlock class. If the invocation has a prerequisite, you can choose that invocation only if you're a Warlock and only if you meet the prerequisite. Whenever you gain a level, you can replace the invocation with another one from the Warlock class. This is powerful. I'm not so sure. If abused on technicalities, I'd say too powerful. But as itself, trading an invocation for a feat, I think is a pretty fair trade as a whole. But you get into certain situations like, I think it's Armor of Shadows, I think is what it's called, that gives you a mage armor at will. With that, if you're the Abjurer, the Abjuration Wizard, and you pick this feat and use that invocation, then you can automatically, infinitely, by wording, at least as I understand it from that wizard, every time you use a spell, an Abjuration spell of first level or higher, it recharges the ward that protects you, that soaks up damage for you. Well, if you can constantly cast Mage Armor at will, you can constantly recharge that ward for free, and that's pretty powerful, abusable. But overall, as a whole, I like this, especially if you're already a Warlock and you want to get more invocations, especially as you get higher level and you unlock those really cool invocations, but you don't want to give up some of the ones that have stood by you for a while, especially stuff. What's this guy's cell phone? Mask of Many Faces, stuff like that. You don't want to give those things up, but you want more invocations. Here's your ticket. So yeah, that's a little controversial in certain ways, but I do enjoy being able to have that opportunity to use Eldritch invocations. So we'll see. Next up we have Fey Touch, and there's 2 of these type of feats, and I really like this. Really like it. So it says, your exposure to the Feywild, or one of its denizens, has left a magical mark on you. You gain the following benefits. Increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1 to a maximum of 20. Already we have a stat boost, so we're only giving up one point, ability score point for the rest of this, which is really cool. But yeah, and you get to choose between 3 abilities. So pretty much any caster can use this. So the other feature is you learn the Misty Step spell and 1 first level spell of your choice. The first level spell must be from the Divination or Enchantment School of Magic, and you can cast each of these spells without expending a spell slot. Once you cast either of these spells in this way, you can't cast the spell in this way again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast these spells using spell slots you have of the appropriate level. The spell's spellcasting ability is the ability increased by this feature. So this is why this is so much better than the Artificer Initiate, is that this doesn't limit you to intelligence. You don't have to have intelligence or bases off intelligence. It can be whatever of these ability scores that you're going off of already. And it gives you 2 free spells, Misty Step, free Misty Step per day, already great, and a level 1 of your choice with Divination or Enchantment. So it gives you 2 of those free per day, but it also unlocks those 2 spells for you permanently as a class, even if your class doesn't have those spells. So I think that's really cool. Yeah, especially if you're a class who really, or a character who really wants Misty Step, but normally wouldn't have access to it. I really like Fate Touched. I think it's a great feat. Next up, we have Fighting Initiate. And this one does have a prerequisite. You have to be proficient with a martial weapon already before you can use this. And it says, your martial training has helped you develop a particular style of fighting. As a result, you learn one fighting style option of your choice from the fighter class. If you already have a style, the one you choose must be different. And whenever you gain a level, you can replace this feat's fighting style with another one from the fighter class that you don't have. This is cool because fighters have a wide variety of fighting styles in their class, and all you have to do is have proficiency with a martial weapon, which typically martial classes have at least one weapon, martial weapon that they're proficient in. And if you don't, you can pick races that are proficient with martial weapons, and there you go. You don't even have to have it on a class that you're already playing. And this could be super beneficial, especially when you think of things like the rogue, getting the archery fighting style for the rogue, things like that. I think this is nice. I like this, and it fits. You know, you can specialize, and as a class who might not get a fighting style that you want your character to have, this allows you to adjust to your character. You know, to make it more based on your character rather than just mechanics. So very cool. I like Fighting Initiate. Next up, we have Gunner. You have a quick hand and a keen eye when employing firearms, granting you the following benefits. Increase your dexterity score by 1 to a max of 20. You gain proficiency with firearms. It says see the firearms section in the DMG for more details on that. You ignore the loading property of firearms, and being within 5 feet of a hostile creature doesn't impose disadvantage on your ranged attack rolls. So this is basically allowing you to be proficient in firearms, and this is kind of up to your DM. It depends on the setting that you're in and how your DM's running the campaign. But you can be proficient in firearms, and it gives you a crossbow expert, crossbow master type feat along with that. So that's pretty cool, and you know it's a way to introduce firearms to your character if you wouldn't normally be able to have access to that proficiency. And it also gives you a dexterity boost as well. Very cool. Okay, next up we have Metamagic Adept. And yeah, we'll go a little deep into this one because this is rubbing some people the wrong way. So the prerequisite of this is you also have to be spellcasting or pack magic feature in the class that you have already, and this is kind of a little bit like the Warlock, the Eldritch Invocation one, is that it gives you a feature of the Sorcerer class, the Metamagic feature. You've learned how to exert your will on your spells to alter how they function. You gain the following benefits. You learn 2 metamagic options of your choice from the Sorcerer's class, and you can use only one metamagic option on a spell when you cast it, unless the option says otherwise. Whenever you gain a level, you can replace one of your metamagic options with another one from the Sorcerer class. You gain 2 Sorcerer points to spend on metamagic. These points are added to any Sorcerer points you have from another source, but can be used only on metamagic. You regain all spent sorcery points when you finish a long rest. Okay, so at first glance, this might look pretty powerful. Oh, you're getting these sorcerer points. You're taking away from the sorcerer class. But in my opinion, and let me know in the comments if you feel otherwise, it's only 2 sorcerer points. You get as many sorcerer points as a sorcerer who just started metamagic at 3rd level. It's only 2 sorcerer points. You can't even do things. I think heightened magic is 3 points. You can typically only do 1 or 2 things. It's very, it doesn't seem very abusable to me. I know it's dipping into somebody's main thing, but if your character is, if that's something that they're doing, they're learning to manipulate magic as part of their character, I don't know. I'm all for it, especially if it helps keep from people multi-classing just to get class features like this when they don't even want to go into the class. They don't want to, RP it out or have it part of their character. They just want the mechanics of a class. If this helps that, helps cut down on the multi-classing for no reason, then yeah, I'm all for it. To each their own, Yeah, your game, your DM, your players. It's great about the joy about it is we can run it however we would like. So the next up is Piercer, the piercing portion of the counterpart to the Crusher earlier. It says, you have achieved a penetrating precision in combat, granting you the following benefits. And this one's pretty similar, strength or dex +1. And once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack that deals piercing damage against a creature, you can re-roll one of the attack's damage dice, and you must use the new roll. This is nice, especially if you're using... if you have something like a rapier where you're only you're only using like that one thing. It doesn't have 2 dice, not like a 2d6 weapon or something like that. So that's okay. Rerolling the die is nice, but it's only 1 damage die. And yeah, I mean, you do get to do it if you have multiple attacks. That'll help out, but it's only 1 damage die. I don't think it's as useful as moving people around the battlefield, but it is useful nonetheless. It gives you more chance for more damage. And when you hit a critical hit with this one, you can roll 1 additional damage die when determining the extra piercing damage the target takes. So you do have a possibility of upping that, and especially if you're using something like a dagger and you are a rogue, that means it says damage die, right? Extra piercing damage. That you could probably use your D6, one of the D6s from your sneak attack, if you had that, and reroll the D6 instead of the D4. Just a thought. Next up, Poisoner. So much like the Chef, I like the Poisoner because it allows your character, no matter what class they are, let's say they were like mad scientists and they delved into poison, and you can just put it in there thematically. So you can prepare and deliver deadly poisons, gaining the following benefits. When you make a damage roll, you ignore resistance to poison damage, which can be really beneficial if this is your thing. You can coat a weapon in poison as a bonus action instead of an action. Super useful in combat. You gain proficiency with the Poisoner's Kit if you don't already have it. With 1 hour of work using the Poisoner's Kit and expending 50 gold pieces worth of materials, you can create a number of doses of potent poison equal to your proficiency bonus. Once applied, the poison retains potency for 1 minute or until you hit with the weapon. When a weapon coated in this poison deals damage to a creature, that creature must succeed on a DC 14 Constitution saving throw or take 2d8 damage and become poisoned until the end of your next turn. I would definitely put poison damage in there just to be specific. But 2d8 damage on something you can do as a bonus action, put on your weapon as a bonus action, that can be very, very nice. That's a lot better than some of the bland poison rolls we've seen before. That is good and potent, but man, 50 gold pieces, especially when your proficiency bonus starts out at 2. It all depends on your setting and how much money that your characters are getting, but whew, that could be costly pretty quick. But hey, you're getting that extra damage and it could save your butt, so it might be worth it. We'll see. Next up is Practiced Expert. You've honed your proficiency with particular skills or tools, gaining the following benefits. You increase an ability score of your choice, anyone, by 1 to a max of 20. You gain proficiency with 1 skill or tool, and you choose one of your skills or tools, tool proficiency you already have. Your proficiency is doubled for that skill, for any check you make using that proficiency. Bleh. It made it a lot more difficult than it is. So basically, you get a stat bump of 1 to any stat, which is fantastic, of choice, and you can gain a skill or tool proficiency of your choice, and then any skill or tool proficiency you have, it doesn't have to be the one you just chose. It can be any one you already have, gets expertise, which I'm curious. I'd love to know why that they veered away from expertise, and they keep saying that it's just double the bonus. It must be a terminology thing that's getting hung up on something. But I really like this because this speaks to a character that really wants to focus hard on a certain area. And this allows you to do that. You get to pick your ability score. You're focusing on something, whatever skill or tool. It doesn't have, you might already have the skill or tool, the one particular one you want to be good with, but this gives you one that you can use that is adjacent and also helps you. And let's say you're a tracker. You want to be a tracker. So you pick the +1 to your wisdom to get your perception up. You already have proficiency in perception. Why not have proficiency in survival so that you can help track people if you don't already have that? And then on top of that, giving expertise to one skill, any skill that you already have proficiency in, is super crucial and super useful. Sneaking, perception. There's just so many things that could help you double down on being good without having to be a rogue that really gets these benefits. So I like it, and it can be used in a variety of different character types. So next up we have Shadow Touched, and this is the counterpart to Fey Touched. You learn how to bend shadows from your experience with the Shadowfell. You gain the following benefits. Increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1, max of 20, and you learn the darkness spell, and 1 first level spell of your choice. The first level spell must be of the illusion or necromancy school of magic. You can cast each of these spells without expending a spell slot. Once you cast either of these spells in this way, you can't cast that spell in this way again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast these spells using spell slots you have of the appropriate level. The spell's spellcasting ability is the ability increased by the feat. They're pretty much the same exact thing as Fey Touched, but you get the darkness spell, and your other first level spell is going to be of the illusion or necromancy school. I really like these. These are versatile. They give you useful spells, and they let you choose. Now, granted, you are limited to those 2 schools, but that's cool. I'm okay with that. It makes sense and allows you to make a more dark and spooky character. I just like it, yeah. So next one is shield training. You've trained in the effective use of shields. You gain the following benefits. You get a strength or dexterity or constitution bump of 1 to a max of 20. You gain proficiency with shields. And in combat, you can don or doff a shield as the free object interaction on your turn. Okay, as the free object interaction on your turn. Okay. If you have the spellcasting or pact magic feature, you can use a shield as a spellcasting focus. This is kind of cool. This lets you use shields in spellcasting classes. This does give you a bump to strength, dex, or con. That's a nice variety. And proficiency with shields when you might not normally have it. And being able to don and doff it is normally an action, and that's tough in combat to weigh that out. But doing it as you interact with object for a turn, that's great. It makes you very versatile, especially if you're really focused. Your character's really focused on using a shield. Cool. Next up is Slasher, the last one in the 3 of the Crusher, Piercer, Slasher arc. You've learned where to cut to have the greatest results, granting you the following benefits. Increase your strength or dexterity by 1, max of 20. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack that deals slashing damage, you can reduce the speed of the target by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. And when you score a critical hit that deals slashing damage to a creature, you grievously wound it. Until the start of your next turn, the target has disadvantage on all attack rolls. This is also powerful, and it's kind of a little closer to the Crusher than the Piercer, because you can mess with their mobility and their battlefield placement. Because if you reduce their speed by 10, that can be brutal for them and lethal. Keeps them from getting away, keeps them from pursuing allies or yourself. When you score a critical hit, it gives, until the start of your turn, the target has disadvantage on all attacks. So let's say this is a baddie with multiple attacks that can do additional effects that really mess up your party. This can avoid all that just by hitting them or critically hitting them. This is cool. I like the Slasher. That's a nice arc. I like that arc. Next up we have Tandem Tactician. Your presence in a scrap tends to elevate your comrades. You gain the following benefits. You can use the help action as a bonus action. When you use the help action to aid an ally in attacking a creature, increase the range of the help action by 10 feet. Additionally, you can help 2 allies targeting the same creature within range when you use the help action this way. At first I thought, man, this is going to crush me using the Mastermind. The Mastermind Rogue. I love that about the Mastermind Rogue. help as a bonus action, and at a range of 30 feet. Oh, great. Luckily, this doesn't completely replace it because the range is only, increased range is only 10 feet. But it does give that nice feature that you can do it for 2 allies. You can do it for 2 allies as a bonus action. That is good. No, don't get me wrong, that's good. Especially if you're a class, you're a non-martial class, and you don't really have anything to do, or you're a martial class that doesn't really have anything to do with your bonus action. You take this, and you can be pretty useful on the battlefield all, entire combat. So, very cool. Tandem Tactician. And last up we have Tracker. You have spent time hunting creatures and honed your skills, gaining the following benefits. Increase your wisdom by 1 to a max of 20. You learn the Hunter's Mark spell. You can cast it once without expending a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast it this way again. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have. Wisdom is your spell casting ability for the spell. And you have advantage on survival checks to track creatures. I like this. I know some people think, oh, they shouldn't have the Hunter's Mark spell if you're not a ranger. Well, I mean, there's subclasses. There's certain subclasses that get it. I know Paladin subclass gets it. There's already certain other things that can get the Hunter's Mark spell. Plus, I like this. Let's say you're a fighter, right? You're just a general fighter dude. And you want also, your background says, oh, you grew up as a tracker. And well, how better to reflect that than being able to be a tracker without dipping into ranger. I don't know. I like that if you can avoid having people to multi-class just to get certain features that might be only because they think it fits for their character, then by all means, take a feat that eliminates that whole necessity to cater to that. But hey, let me know what you think. And I know this is kind of there's a kind of a line in this. I think overall I like these feats. There are certain ones that I think may be problematic with certain abusable features, and other ones that look like they can use some love. But hey, that's why we're looking at these Unearthed Arcana. And make sure you fill out the survey when it comes out, and let Wizards of the Coast know that what improvements or things that we think probably shouldn't be in here. And let me know what you think about these feats. And if you want to come around Stalwart Initiative, we have a Twitch channel. We stream D&D on Twitch. We also do community games, community one-shots with people from the Discord community. So I'll have the Twitch and Discord links below, as well as the link to this UA 2020 Feats PDF. So yeah, everyone have a wonderful day. Unity is strength. So stand together, stay safe, and take care of yourselves. See you next time.